Testing 1, 2, 3. Now it is.
Good. I get double bunny ears now, right?
Yep. Yeah, once
we don't take ourselves too seriously, do we?
Nah. Not at this point.
We better not.
Hi everybody, I'm Satoli. Welcome back to another edition of History in Your Own Backyard. Today I'm in Brookville, Indiana with Jeff Shroyer, who's going to tell us a little bit about gas stations, since I don't know anything about gas stations.
And neither do I.
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm great. Good to see you, Satoli.
Good to meet you.
We've seen each other a lot over the years. On
Facebook.
Exactly, but here we are in person.
First time.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Thank you.
So tell me, we were talking before about the different types of gas stations. Like I said, there's abandoned gas stations everywhere. We've seen them all, but how can you tell what this station was or what that station was?
Well,
what brand?
Before the 1911 breakup of Standard Oil by the U.S. Supreme Court, Standard Oil was a big conglomerate, and after the 1911 breakup, they used a lot of the same blueprints for their filling stations. A filling station preceded a service station, okay?
Okay.
Back here, what we have is a classic Standard Oil filling station.
Okay.
Built, a telltale way of knowing about a classic Standard Oil filling station is the brown brick that you see in the back there.
Okay.
And brown brick was practical. It provided a lot of longevity, and obviously some of these stations are 100 or 110 years old.
Right.
So after the breakup of Standard Oil, Standard Oil of New Jersey, Standard Oil of Ohio, Standard Oil of Indiana, and somewhat Standard Oil of Kentucky all used this same type of concept for their early filling stations. And because they were so well built, that's why so many of them are still around today, especially a bunch here in Indiana.
And what's the one brand that had like the pointy roof on it? I've seen those out on the east side of Ohio a lot.
Well,
you remember those?
A lot of them have the point roof. It could be a Skelly, could be a Pure.
Pure, that was it.
Yeah. Could be a Conoco, could be a Phillips.
Okay.
Just depends on where the station is. But a lot of them use that same design because it, displaced water with the rain and the snow and that kind of thing.
So you were talking about filling stations,
yes,
and then a service station.
Yes.
Service stations when they put the bays in to work on the cars.
Yes.
And
yes.
when did that happen?
That happened sometime shortly after the Depressions, in the late 30s, as cars became more prevalent and people needed a place to get their cars serviced, and it was a natural addition for a service station to have the service bays added on. And oil companies trained their people how to sell things, training for changing tires and oil,
right,
and minor mechanical work and that kind of thing.
And you said this is an old Standard Oil station.
This is an old Standard Oil of Indiana station, and Standard Oil of Indiana particularly built along what is, now current U.S. routes. They were main routes going through, this is what I would call a first generation filling station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we were inside looking around, and you said that the addition was probably a bay on that, or two bays.
Yeah, usually two bays. And those would have probably been added sometime in the late 30s, but probably before things got rationed in World War II.
Okay.
So.
And how did you get started in gas stations? I mean, what got your interest going?
Well, my dad worked for Gulf Oil and started for Gulf Oil in 1955. So there were probably, I was thinking that 2 or 3 dozen gas stations in Dayton, Ohio, where I grew up. And so every time we'd pass a Gulf station, Dad would look and see what's going on. So, of course, at that age, I'd always look and see what was going on. And then after I got out of high school, we owned an oil distributorship in Dayton. So I went to work for them in the summer while I was in college,
Right.
you know, driving and delivering oil. Then I went and started selling oil. And so, you know, I've been around it for 50 years. So,
Yeah.
I love this stuff.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's totally cool.
So, tell me one of your more unusual stories about an old gas station that you found.
Boy,
You got
that's
any-
yeah.
you got any good
Okay, all
ones?
right. St. Paul, Indiana. Okay, Shelby County. Okay. There's a really great old Standard Oil station right on the town square up there. And it's of this very typical brown brick. And the cool thing is, if you get out and look real close, you can see where the holes were in the pavement for lifts before the service bays were added on.
Really?
Yeah. Cars were serviced outside, and there's pictures on the gas station sites where you can see where, you know, before bays were added, you had to work on cars in the rain and the snow and the sun and
Yeah,
you know, that kind of thing. So, if anyone's interested, that's a really cool station to see in
Okay.
St. Paul, Indiana.
Okay.
But that's another old Standard Oil of Indiana station.
And that's in the town of St. Paul.
That is in the town of St. Paul, right across from a good place to have lunch at a restaurant, too.
Well, you know, I did a video on that about 5 years ago. It's probably in the video
Yeah,
somewhere.
I'm sure, yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think
Is
I've
it?
seen it. Yeah, I've seen it.
So, well, I'll tell you what, we'll have to do this again. We'll have to start finding other cool gas stations, service stations. They're
yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah, they really are all over. And just like we were talking a few minutes ago, you know, drive slow and stop often.
Yep.
They're all over the place.
Yep. Well, thanks.
Hey,
Appreciate
thank you, Satoli. Good to meet you finally.
it.
Okay.
Yep. Let's go look at some bridges.
Amen, brother. Thank you.